Hello, I'm Mike Rover, and today I'm going to be talking about the service learning I did at the Lifelong Learning Center. So first, a little bit of an overview. I was working in conjunction with Lexington School District 3's adult education program at the Lifelong Learning Center. Here I designed a course of instruction to teach digital literacy skills to participants in the GED class. This resulted in several deliverables, including a needs assessment, job aid tool, and ultimately a website containing self-directed lessons along with assessments to check for mastery. So in my summary of my internship experience, I think that this was a very eye-opening opportunity for me. The freedom that was provided through this program allowed me to explore situations and creativity that I had not been able to do before. It also required me to be very self-directed and self-motivated, which is something that I've always struggled with. So this was a very big growing opportunity for me, and I think I got a lot from it. In addition to my management skills and my self-reliance, I also developed a lot of my technical skills as well as my ability to work with clients and even seeing how education works in different settings. So now we're going to talk about some of the deliverables that were produced by this effort. The first one that we're going to talk about is the needs assessment. So the needs assessment was one of the first things that was completed and was a very big part of everything that came after it. The needs assessment gathered a lot of important information regarding the environment as well as the needs of the students that were going to be receiving these lessons. To get this information, I used a combination of surveys and interviews to try and identify which skills would be most important and what would be the most important or most effective ways of delivering that information. Using this information, I started to develop a unit plan where I gathered together resources that would be valuable as well as planning out the structure and the pacing of the lessons that would be used. This eventually led to a website where self-directed independent lessons were available for the students to use. Each website page had a video, had text, vocabulary, as well as additional resources and an assessment to allow the instructors to check for mastery. As part of this project, I also created several assessments, including using websites such as Kahoot, Google Docs, Google Forms, and Wiser. The last tool that I also created was a job aid tool. Originally, this was designed to be a flowchart. However, due to the complexity of it, it evolved into an interactive tool that the students would be using on the website to diagnose and identify common computer problems. The client-designer relationship was a new one for me. I'm used to people giving me requirements and then finding the best way to fulfill them. However, in this role, I was not really given requirements so much as creating them on my own. I was given a tremendous amount of freedom, which in some ways was really nice, but also provided its own set of problems. For example, because they had no digital literacy program whatsoever, anything that I made was better than nothing, and so in their eyes, everything I was doing was really great, which made it sometimes very difficult to get honest and critical feedback to allow me to develop my product better. Eventually, I found that besides simply the client, but also the students as well as the teachers that would be giving out the lessons were welcomed areas to get feedback from. During this time, I learned many valuable skills. One of the skills that really improved was my management skills, especially my time management skills. One thing I've always been prone to do is leaving things off until the last minute, and so having the 100 hours to complete really made me spread out my time and made sure that I worked on things at a steady pace to make sure that things were continually improving. I did have trouble meeting some of my deadlines and I did have to kind of push things back at times. However, I am pleased that I was able to complete everything within the time allotted. Another area that I improved a lot was in my planning skills, especially with adjusting. Long-term planning and unit planning has always been a weakness of mine, and so the opportunity to work on it deliberately and to make sure that I'm including all my important aspects, well, I think will be a great benefit to me. I also gained a lot of experience in working with clients, which I find is not truly all that much different from things I'd already been doing. However, I did notice that I had to adjust my approaches at times when working for someone else. And then finally, I believe my technical skills have improved a lot. I got to use a lot of great tools and get a lot of experience using different methods of assessment, as well as working on my HTML and my CSS skills creating a website. And I think that will be of great use to me going forward. So when I had my exit reflection, overall they were pleased with the results. They were satisfied with my professionalism, and ultimately they were happy with the final product. In fact, they were so happy they were talking with me about possibly considering and adding additional lessons to it, which might come down some further point down the line. And then my final comments and reflection. I really enjoyed my time doing my service learning. During this time, I've gained many skills. I feel like I'm a lot more confident in my ability to plan and direct myself. I also have a lot of areas that I can still improve on. I can see that my time management skills are still not as good as they possibly could be. And while I've learned a lot about my web skills, I believe that my web design skills is one area that I can continue to improve on in the future.